How you guys doing? This is Real Sensi OG. Today we're here with Bobby Hustle. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, guys. Bless up, bless up. Happy to be here. Big up Real
Yeah,
Sensi,
man.
Real Sensi OG family and
Big
community.
ups.
My name is Bobby Hustle.
Yes, I thank you, families, for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. First off, we just want to shout out our sponsors, Puff Sauce, Red Feathers Farms, keeping us all elevated. You guys already know how it is. Let's get right into it. Bless up.
Nice.
Thank you so much for coming down. It's such a pleasure having you. Bobby Hustle, guys. Let's give a round of applause real quick. Woo!
Not necessary, but thank you, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
We're finally coming back doing interviews again. So this is our first interview of 2021. So blessings.
Nice. Yeah,
Yes,
happy to be the first. And it's
Hell yeah.
been a long time coming because we've been talking about doing this for at least like 7 or 8 months, I think.
Yeah, so finally it's here and it's
Yeah.
super excited to show you guys. It's going to be a great discussion today. So
Cool.
how'd you guys all get your start? How'd you get your start in playing reggae music?
Well, let's see. Started when I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. I, of course, in Seattle and growing up in the Northwest, we got exposed to all different types of music, you know. Everything from rock and grunge. I was a kid in the 90s. Rock and grunge and hip-hop and reggae just somehow made its way in there. When I was like 13, 14, we went from listening to like ska and sublime to Jamaican music and music from St. Croix because some of my good friends' older brothers were into reggae at that time too. And so we just took their CDs and we never gave them back. And I had a really cool close-knit group of homies, and we all just like fueled each other's fire for the culture and learning about Jamaica and the history and everything. And you know, flash forward 10 years, I started to record music with those same homies that we learned about the music together with, because I went to college in Colorado, and then when I moved back to Seattle, I linked up with them again, and they had been going to production school and sound engineering school, so they were already working with some Jamaicans like Anthony B and Perfect Gitamani and Lutan Faya, and so when I moved back there, I just like started going to the studio every day, and I was already like hella into writing lyrics.
Already hanging out with all
And it was just like a
showing them
natural
all
fit,
love.
so I started to do what they call rhythms, you know, where you basically record your song on the same beat as like 5 or 6 or even as many as like 15 other people. And in Jamaica, they call them rhythm runs, and they're one of the more predominant ways they release music. Like a producer or a band makes a beat, and then they shop it out to all their favorite artists.
Exactly.
The artists perform on it, and then they play it in the dances and everything. So I was in Seattle recording on these rhythms that were, some of them were produced in Seattle, but some of them were produced other places too, like in Jamaica and in Europe, and they would get released from all these different places in the world. And at that time, it was like 2010, 2011. That was when I was first starting to release music. I didn't have an Instagram. I wasn't really on Facebook. I was like computer illiterate. I wasn't really in that world, you know? Yeah. So people heard my music, but they didn't see my face. So I got like ingratiated and like accepted into these like more traditionally Jamaican spaces, you know? Yeah. So for a long time, that's been like where people know me, is in like the dance hall scenes in Europe or in Japan or in these other places. But now my journey is like, now I live in LA, you know, so now my journey is like, let's break into the American market, you know, because I'm an American kid.
Yep,
you know?
that's what you gotta do.
Yeah, so I link up with Real Sensi OG.
Hey,
and,
straight up. You guys
smoke some
already know.
herb and
Bobby Hustle out in the business. You guys already know he's doing his thing, putting out a lot of music recently. You know, we saw recently you performed a digital set at Sunsplash. How did that all come about? Like, how did you get all that going?
So that actually came about through like a really similar way that I started recording and releasing songs, and they would getting heard all over the world, not necessarily here because people weren't like super into like the Jamaican rhythm culture, but in places as far away as India, they are. And so basically I got linked up with the people who are run the Goa Sunsplash Festival in India every year, but and we'd been talking for years about me coming over there, and the same guys that run it are part of the biggest Indian reggae sound system. So they're like a collective of DJs over there. and so they put on this festival as well. So they've been playing my music for like 8-9 years, so we've had like
That's awesome.
through the internet we've had a connection. And then it turns out that one of the homies from they're called Reggae Rajas. Shout out the Reggae Rajas.
Boom,
Family for
Reggae
life.
Rajas.
Soon reach India. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yes.
One day we're gonna get there after the pandemic. But
That's awesome.
So they came to LA last summer, not last summer, 2 summers ago. So like the end of 2019, like September or something like that, they were out here.
That's cool.
And we linked up for the first time in person, and we just hit it off. They're the homies, and so they called me on WhatsApp and were like, "Yo, do you want to do this for the Goa Sunsplash Digital Edition?" And I did it, and it was cool. I did it like sound system style, with the DJ. Yeah,
sick.
so
Yeah, it was awesome. We were
it's on my
looking at that.
YouTube. I put up the little clips of each song. I did like 5 or 6 songs, I think.
That's awesome.
And it was a really fun time, and it was a benefit for the kids in Goa. It's called Goa Outreach Program. So it was an honor to do that, and big up Goa. One day I'll be over there. Like
That's
I
awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Guys. Hell yeah. What kind of things do you like to do to get inspired, like that inspire you to write music?
Well, one of the most important things I think is to like live a balanced life. Like you gotta live. You gotta live a little. Like for a long time I was always like in the studio writing, and I put out a lot of music. I have over 120 songs now out
That's amazing.
on Spotify and iTunes and all those places. But that's a product of being in the studio and writing all the time. But I realized you got to to live a little, man. You got to go see the world. You got to meet people. You got to enjoy your time. You got to go through some hardships, to write some really interesting and meaningful stuff. So now since this pandemic has been going down, I've taken a lot of time, obviously like everybody, taken a lot of time for myself, and like I've recorded a bunch of new music. I've gone through some ups and downs in the last year and a half. Mostly ups, though, to be honest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep it really positive, and I think that helps inspire. But a lot of times people just send me beats, and if I hear a beat or a rhythm and I like the vibe, I can instantly get like something, and then maybe I won't write the whole song, but I'll get something and be like, ooh, that's cool, and I'll med on it. I'll like meds on it, think about it for a couple days, and then come back to it and write something.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
definitely find new inspirations. We saw that you wrote new songs. Tap In, Love Me Like You Do. Those are the newest ones that you just dropped. Do you want to talk about how those came apart, like how you got the inspiration for that?
And there's actually a one that just dropped, with Recall,
Recall.
my homie from Austria. Shout out Recall. He just released an album. That's a collection of tunes that he's recorded with all his friends from all over the world. People like Anthony B, Million
awesome.
Styles in Sweden, Perfect Gitamani, who's a good friend of mine as well, who's a Jamaican living in Florida at the moment. And this guy Recall is really talented. He used to be a member of the Austrian Boys Choir, or the Vienna Boys Choir, which is a hella famous children's choir that would like tour all over the world. So he was like trained singer, but he loves reggae music, and for the last like 10 years he's been focusing on doing reggae music, and so he's super talented. And so I recorded a track with him called They Will Try, which is kind of a political tune. It's like a conscious tune just talking about politicians. I really like it, and it just came out the other day.
That's awesome.
But you asked me about Tap In and Love Me Like You Do. So Tap In, I recorded that one in September when I was up in Humboldt. This is what you're talking about. Like, yo, you got to get some inspiration, Like, if you really want to record something dope, you got to go live. So
exactly.
it was the summer last year, and shit wasn't popping. I was like, what are we going to do? So I went up, my family's in Seattle, so I went to drive up to Seattle, but I stopped in Humboldt and linked with some friends and, stayed for a few weeks and lived life and had a good time. And all those people that I was with are out on farms, in Humboldt, like growing and doing their thing. So they're not in like the COVID world. They're not seeing people all the time. They're not like, it's not, you don't have to wear a mask out there, like, wear your masks, but you don't have to wear a mask like when you're out not seeing anybody and you're isolated for weeks on a time. So I went out there and kicked it and caught some inspiration. And then my homie DJ Jamar, who's a reggae dancehall DJ in Tucson in Arizona, sent me that beat, and was like, "Yo, I want you to record a song on this." And so I just threw it on my headphones and listened to it for a couple days. It was like caught a vibe and just wrote it. And I really like that song a lot. It's a dope dancehall tune. It's called Tap In. Check it out. Bobby Hustle, Tap In.
Link in description, of course.
Yes. And the other one, Love Me Like You Do, was produced last February, about a year ago, right after the One Love Cali Fest.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have been to that, obviously.
Yes, I big up One
my
Love.
homies, the Movement, were performing there, and I have a song.
Yes.
Big up boys.
Big
and,
up to Gary Dread.
They were, yes, Gary, Josh, Jay,
everyone.
Matt, the whole team. They featured me on a track on their 2016 album called Habit alongside Collie Buds.
Yes,
Habit 2016 is like the remix of their one of their big early tunes. And so whenever they're in town, I always go sing that with them, you know? So I went to the One Love Fest, and then right after that, my homie from Seattle, from Loud City Music, Dan, was down here, and we just went in the studio and cooked it up. We just like felt the vibes, and he like came up with a guitar progression, and I just came about. And then, we released that in November. So, yeah, I'm during quarantine, like, trying to be as like active as possible in terms of releasing music, because it's important to stay in front of people's faces, and since we can't physically be in front of people's faces, you got to keep giving them music,
Exactly.
So I'm just putting out as much music as I can. I have another song coming out in March, like March 4th or 5th, I think it is, with Just Goody, who's a really talented guitar player, singer, who lives in Carlsbad right now, and he's played with a lot of like reggae legends, and he most recently was performing and touring with Ian Young as his guitar player. And Just Goody and I are homies, and he came up to my place and we recorded the track, and now we're putting it out. Yeah, so
it's amazing. Just
lots of music, guys. They don't call me Bobby Hustle for nothing.
oh yeah.
Like I was saying earlier, I feel like because I grew up in Seattle, and I am a person that likes all different types of music, I draw inspiration from all different types of music and from different artists with different sounds and different messages. And so my personal message is pretty diverse. Like, I have songs that are political. I have songs that are, strictly ganja tunes. And I have songs that are really superficial, like, fun, lovey-dovey songs. And then I got, like, more hardcore dancehall tunes and a bunch of different styles, because, like, for me, and I feel like most people, we're not just one thing. There are layers to people, and
we're
like
all diverse,
we're all
different.
diverse, and there's a time when you want to be militant, and there's a time when you want to be, like, compassionate and loving, and there's a time when you want to get high, and there's a time when you feel low, So, like, to me, I don't like to box myself in like that, and since I do draw inspiration from all these different people, I might as well, give the same out,
Exactly.
That's what I try to do.
Give
So
what
some
you
people
get,
come to me for the ganja tunes. Some people are like, yo, you need to write more ganja tunes. We miss the ganja tunes. And some people come to me and they're like, yo, I really liked Love Me Like You Do. Which is like a thoughtful love song, And so it depends. I'm happy I'm happy to do everything. Really.
That's good, like, just people that are just humble and just, like, talented people like you, like, get to do a little bit of everything, and we all get to unite, and it's all a wonderful thing, like, just got to support the brethrens and sistrens always. So is there any advice that you give to aspiring musicians or people following in your footsteps? Like, maybe, like...
Yeah. There's a lot of advice.
Just keep going,
keep it short, really. You gotta. I mean, you're not gonna succeed, whatever your version of success is, unless you love it. And so, do it for the right reasons. Like, I never got into this for money. I got into this because I love reggae music, and I love singing and making music and being creative. And I was doing it with my friends, and I love this, like, the community about it, So if you're in it for that reason, and you just keep a clean heart and keep positive, and also don't have a thin skin, and when people tell you no, it's like, all right, cool, but I'm still gonna do it,
Exactly.
That's what it's all about, and I think that there are a lot of talented artists out there that just need to keep going, and find their way. Just like me, I'm looking for my path still. That's what life is, You're even when you think you figured it out, the next day you wake up and there's like a new reality. You're like, oh, I should consider that, And so
definitely.
I'm my own manager right now. I'm my own pretty much everything. Apart from like, I do it all with the help of you guys and the community.
Yes,
So if you can keep your vibes positive and just try to embrace everybody, and sure, like maybe you're not going to collaborate with everybody, or you're not going to like be homie with everybody, but to like have that respect that you're all in it for the same reason, which is that you love the music.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly what it's about, and that's why
Yeah.
we do Real Sensi. We love to bring out the true inspirations, the true people that bring out the roots music and show love to the roots and the people that came before us.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we love doing Real Sensi. So big ups, you summed it up for us exactly.
Up.
Yes, I. So how would you say reggae music has changed your life?
It's my entire life. I mean, I really don't know who I would be if it wasn't for reggae. I wouldn't be this guy. That's for sure. I would be somebody else. It's impossible to say, man. Reggae's like since I was a little kid, it's been my passion and my inspiration and my drive. And I remember when I was like in my early 20s, and my mom was like, I told her I was going to be a reggae singer, and my mom's like, all right. Cool. She knew that I liked reggae. She used to hear me in my room just like skanking up on the chinka, ka-chinka, ka-chinka, ka-chink, and there was no other music going on. So she's like, God, that is the same damn beat over and over again. You're just saying ka-chinka, ka-chinka, But 10 years later, I started like really recording and doing it, and then another years later, she's seen me tour all over the world, and like she knows that that's who I am, and that.
Exactly.
And people are supportive of that, so I appreciate that a lot. But I think reggae has made me everything that I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great answer.
It's just a foundation.
Exactly.
Everything.
Is there anyone you want to shout out that has helped you throughout your whole musical process?
Too many to. Yeah, sure. I mean, there's so many people to shout out, but. I could keep it general and just say everybody that has like showed interest and support in some way, whether that be streaming or buying music or coming to the shows or sending me a message about specific songs that have touched them, or people that have given me advice even that have like strayed, led me astray, but then I found something deeper and was like, oh, that's why I should never do that again. Even those types of people I got to shout out. But I was telling you guys before we started recording about the homies Loud City in Seattle, the guys that I grew up with. I don't think without them, like I really wouldn't have gotten into the industry the same way that I did, which is into the more like dancehall Jamaican sound system scene. And then what I'm doing is trying to cross back over into the American scene. But without them and their guidance, and I wouldn't have been able to do it. And then, there are certain people that have like always booked me, like people over on the East Coast that take care of me, like my homie DJ Nuggies out in Rhode Island. He's always represented for me. Of course, big up Gary Dredd in the movement. Big up Young Trip, my brethren who lives down here in LA, who's a producer. He does like reggae, dancehall, EDM. I toured all over the States with him as like a sound system style for years, and he's down here pushing the music same way. So big up Trip. Yeah.
Thank you guys all coming together. That's
Yeah.
the
And
beauty of it.
big up Real Sensi OG and all of the platforms that have supported independent reggae music, because like I said, we're doing this with the help of you. It's a teamwork makes the dream work, they say.
Right. It's so crazy. Since it's Bob Marley's birthday, happy birthday to the junior.
The GOAT.
Yes, the GOAT, the greatest person of all time. What's your favorite Bob Marley tune?
My favorite Bob Marley song, and I was also telling you guys I don't play favorites, but I guess with Bob I could make an exception. I would say Selassie is the Chapel. is my favorite Bob song. Because when I hear
That's
that,
what's
I
up.
just get into like a real mellow, meditative, like spiritual vibe, and it just puts me in a thankful mood. Like, yeah, so I
Yep.
would say Selassie is the chapel. And happy birthday, Bob.
Yes, I. Big up Bob Marley, Robert Nesta. Yes, I. Happy birthday. And also, what is your favorite Bobby Hustle tune of all time?
I already told you guys off the camera, but and now I'm second guessing my thoughts, but I'm gonna stick with it. Go stream some Bobby Hustle. There's 120 songs out there to choose your favorite one,
Check it out everywhere.
and there's at least 15 more coming this year.
There you go.
But so far, I think one of my favorite songs, Bless Up the Little Birdie That Just Flew Over. That was
Yes,
Irie. I think one of my favorite songs is called Looking Glass. It's off my debut album, which came out in 2015. It's a song that I wrote about the politicians, which, doesn't matter which side of the aisle you fall on, or if you're not even in the aisle or whatever, if you're not even in the building. Like, the song's called Looking Glass. Go check the lyrics, and it's more of like a political militant tune, but it's got a really nice mellow vibe to it too.
Exactly.
So you can listen to it and
Yep.
just relax. But yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
And the new song that just came out with Recall is a really good one too, called They Will Try.
Yes, I.
So-
Check that one out
And I
right
love
now.
Tap In. It's hard, man. You guys asked me which is
You
my
can't
favorite.
choose.
It's just it changes like the weather.
Yep, exactly.
It's hard.
It depends on the day,
It totally does.
And last question, since we're real Sensi, we got to ask, what's your favorite strain and how do you like to smoke it?
OG
There you go. Of
forever,
course.
forever and ever.
Yep. That's how you
Even
do
though
it.
I like all kinds of weed, because I've, there have been times when you're smoking the super high grade, and there's been times when you down and out and you smoking some not so good. But I would say OG out of a joint.
There you go.
OG big joint.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a nice clean joint.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it, for sure.
For sure.
Well,
for
thank
sure.
you so much for coming down. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Make sure you guys go stream all his music out everywhere. Make sure you guys are checking it out, putting it in your playlist, sharing with your friends. Make sure you guys are sharing the stream, the interview, and we got some acoustic sessions dropping very soon, and maybe a How to Roll, so check it out.
Yep. Big up.
Blessings
big
and
up.
love,
Big up.
everybody. Thank you for coming down again. We
Yeah, my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Boom.
Much. Yes, I. Soon come, soon come. Boo!
Bless.